There is a theory in sport that the best sides win when not playing at their best. I think it's fair to say that the Red Roses massively put that theory to the test this afternoon in the World Cup semi-final. Welcome back to the channel. We now know that it is going to be England against Canada in the World Cup final at a sold-out Twickenham next weekend. What an occasion that is going to be. The dream is still alive for England. But how many people were watching that game thinking that it could well have gone a different way? The final scoreline doesn't reflect that. France 17, England 35. If you just saw the scoreline, you might expect that it was a pretty straightforward win from the Red Roses. Far, far from it. Give me your views down below. Do you think England got away with one? Were they lucky? Or was this simply a good team that almost doesn't know how to lose, finding a way by hook or by crook to get the job done? And what will France be ruining from that game? Because I think they will look back at that as a massive, massive missed opportunity. They went about their business brilliantly. They just weren't quite clinical enough. So give me your view in the comments section. Like the video as well, and I'd love it if you hit that subscribe button. But to go back to that phrase I started with the video with, I think it is absolutely true that the best sides find a way of winning. Like what we saw with the Springboks in the Men's World Cup, when quarter-final, semi-final, final, they managed to get over the line in 1-point wins. I think England there have found a way to win a game where they weren't playing that well. In particular, in that first half, I think France had about 70% of the ball in the first half, which is an unbelievable amount. They also had the better of the territory, but England held on, and found themselves at half-time leading by 2 points. And I thought at that point, France going to miss those opportunities. And I think ultimately there they are, hugely. Because you could boil this game down to red zone efficiency, and it would be quite reductive to do that. There were so many other moments and moments in the game. But if you look at the red zone efficiency, both sides got into the opponent's 22 a similar amount of times. England came away with far more points than France were able to. And I think that is ultimately where France are going to be frustrated, because we all know how good England are. We all know how difficult it is to beat the Red Roses, in particular at home. And France could have done today. I really think they could have done. England were rattled at one point. It was close. They were scared, I think. But France weren't efficient enough. They weren't efficient enough, and fair play to England, they found a way. In particular, I think half-time came at a great time for England. The attack they had at the start of the second half, which was arguably their best attack of the game, I think, it ended up 6 minutes into the second half, Amy Cocaine scoring from a driving maul that started on the 22. There is a thing there, isn't it, of when you're not playing very well, when you're under pressure in a World Cup semi-final, go back to what you know and what you do best and what you know well, and that's the driving maul for England. Brilliant driving maul that scored the try. And France stayed in it. That wasn't exactly the moment or the straw that broke the camel's back. But yeah, I just think England just had enough, didn't they? And I do wonder, I have a slight theory that we ultimately saw the difference between how professional England have been and what France have been over the last few years. And it was a really, really tight game, but the final 20 minutes, England were able to win it. They had the quality. We know the strength and depth of this Red Roses team. Once again, they had players coming off the bench and making more of an impact. I don't know if that's fully thought out, but what do you reckon? Is there anything in that? Because it was such a tight game for so much of it. And a game not without controversy as well. If we want to go back to the first half, I mean, the Ellie Killdun first try, which she finished really, really well, looked like a potential knock-on in the build-up. I'm surprised they didn't go and check that and look at that in more detail. And then likewise, the French try, Condé scoring it after 23 minutes, looked like there was a foot in touch earlier on. Now, they had gone through quite a lot of phases before that. I don't know if that came into it. But both of those, I thought, were right under the noses of the officials and should have probably been picked up. I don't think it made a difference to the result at the end of the day, but I do wonder if it leads us to just a question over the overall standard of officiating in this World Cup, even if you put this game to one side. I know it has been spoken about previously, and there have probably been a few things that raise a couple of question marks. And it's funny, isn't it? Because in theory, the best officials are in the men's game, because that's where they earn the most money. Should you have the best officials taking charge of the Women's World Cup as well? Or should it be those that are more regularly officiating in the women's game? It's an interesting discussion point. But I thought with those two in particular, because I thought they were right under the noses of the officials, for them to arguably get the decision wrong live and then it not even really be checked, or it didn't seem it was checked by the TMO, yeah, for me raises a couple of different question marks. But But I suppose ultimately, England deserved to go through, I think, because of the fact that when you have much less of the ball, less of the territory, and you still score the 5 tries, you outscore your opponent, you're more efficient in the red zone, then you deserve to get yourselves into a World Cup final, which they have done. And fair play to them, because there were certainly moments in that game where I was wondering, are we about to see it? Is it about to come crashing down in spectacular fashion for the Red Roses? But they held their nerve, they had their execution, they got through a lot of defensive work, and they probably had those key moments in the game. They maybe just had a bit more quality. Hannah Bottom and Meg Jones came up with some crucial turnovers at the breakdown on a couple of different occasions, didn't they? When England were close to their own try line, defending really key turnovers. Ellie Kildunn, when you give her space, the second try she scored, which really killed the game at that point. I think it came with about 12 minutes to go, but it moved it on to I think it would have been a 3-score game at that point, wouldn't it? 28-12. Those crucial moments, I think, just went the way of the Red Roses. Partly through, I suppose, an element of luck if you look at the second Kildunn try, but also a huge amount of quality of the way in which she finished it and the way in which they got those turnovers at key moments at the breakdown. But if that 80 minutes showed us anything, certainly an hour showed us anything, if you're Canada, how much encouragement do you take from that semi-final? And are you sat there saying, we've had to basically go fund our way to even get to this World Cup? We're 80 minutes away from pulling off an unbelievable, remarkable story. Let's upset the Red Roses in front of 82,000 of what is basically going to be English fans. It's going to be an amazing occasion potentially, because either we're going to see an incredible sporting story for the Canadians, or it is going to be almost the end point of the first part of professionalism in the women's game for England, I think. It'll exercise demons from the last World Cup final. It will exercise demons of World Cup finals, plural, for the Red Roses on not being able to get over the line. Yes, they're not playing the Black Ferns, but it will be a brilliant occasion for the women's game. Truly amazing moment. I can't wait. I think I'm going to be there. I can't wait for that. And it's going to be incredible either way, because either Canada are going to pull off the upsets of all upsets, or England are going to get their moment in the sunshine. I remember when the full-time whistle went in the last World Cup final, actually. In Eden Park, the kind of heartache for England messing up the line out right at the end of the game. And immediately, certainly in this part of the world, in England, attention turned towards home World Cup, 3 years' time, final at Twickenham. They have got there, and what's going to be the result of it? Let me know, what did you make of the game? Do you agree that you think ultimately it's a testament to the best sides win when not playing at their best? And do you think that for France, that is going to be just one of those games they wish they could have back, wish they could have been slightly more efficient? And who knows, could be a different story. Give me your views down below, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.